Hello and welcome to a new video series on my channel, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can create your first macOS application. So let's open up Xcode and get started. And we'll create a new Xcode project. And for the template we'll select macOS and application and just click next. And I'm going to name this Mac Landmarks. And you can save it wherever you want. So first off, let's go to our project file window, and here we can set the deployment target as 10.15. So make sure this is 10.15 because we'll be using the latest features which are not supported on the previous versions. So back to our content view.swift file. Here we can press resume to see the preview. And currently we're seeing a blank screen with hello world text written on it. So this is very similar to making an iOS application. SwiftUI provides both the default main view and its preview provider, just like an iOS app, and enables you to preview the app's main window. So in the description of this video, I'll add a link to the important files that you will be needing in this project so that we don't have to create everything from scratch and we can just focus on the macOS part of the development. So if you open up the folder that you downloaded from the link in the description, so if you have downloaded the file from link in the description, you will find a folder, and in this folder you can just open up the starting point folder, and inside that there is a landmarks folder, inside the subfolder which is landmarks folder. So from the models folder in here we can just select all of these files and we can click and drag those into our project file, and make sure you copy items if needed is ticked. And we can put all of these in a new folder which is models. Similarly, we can do the same for all the files in the resources folder. These are basically all the images that we will be needing in our macOS application. And we'll click and drag them into our project file. Make sure copy items if needed is ticked. So yeah, once that is done, we can create a new folder by selecting all of these files, and we can call it resources. So now we have all the models and resources that we will be needing for our macOS application, and we can begin our development. So in our models folder, let's just open up the landmarks.swift file, and here we can just add a new description property, which is a string. So our landmarks model is ready, and we can start making a new landmark row. So let's create a new file, and we'll select a SwiftUI view file, and we can just name it landmark row, and we can just name it landmark row. I'll just make sure this is outside of our models folder. So in our landmark row structure, I'll just add a new property, landmark, which is an object of the class landmark. And we'll just update the preview provider with the landmark to display. And we'll replace the placeholder text view with the horizontal stack that draws the landmarks image. So let's just add a horizontal stack here. and I'll set its alignment property to center. And this will show our landmarks image. And I'll add a few more modifiers here. So I'll set up all the required modifiers to make our preview look good. And finally, I'll add some text to our view, which is grouped in a vertical stack. And we can add our desired modifiers to this text. Next, I'll add another text which will show a brief description of this landmark. So this looks good. And next we can add a favorite indicator to the view, which is separated from the existing content with a spacer. So I'll just add a spacer after this VStack, and I'll check if the landmark is marked as favorite. And if that is the case, I'll just add a star-filled icon to it. And we can just look at the preview here. And I think this looks good for our landmark row class. So I'll just add the star filled into our assets folder. So open up the folder again that you had previously downloaded from the description, and in this there is a resource folder, and we can drag both of these PDFs into our assets folder. Now back to our landmark row.swift file. So after our favorite image, I'll just add a vertical padding to our view. So this padding will improve our readability when all the rows are together in a list. So let's assemble all the rows into a list. So let's create a new SwiftUI view. I'll just press Command N, SwiftUI view, and I'll call this landmark list. So in this view, we'll just display a list of the rows that we had previously created in landmark row.swift file. So here I'll just add a new environment object, which is user data. So here in this view, we'll just show the list of landmarks that the user has marked as favorite. So for that, we'll need a user data object, and I'll just update the preview provider. So in the body of this view, I'll just get rid of this default placeholder text, and I'll add a list here. And inside this, I'll use the for each property, and I'll just add the landmark row view here, which will take the landmark property which we are getting from the user data. And now when we resume the preview, we'll see a list of all the landmarks for a particular user, and here we can see the ones which the user marked as favorite are showing. So next, we'll just make the rows selectable by providing the list with a binding to an optional selected landmark and tagging the rows with the landmark itself. And we'll just provide the list with a binding to an optional selected landmark. And we'll add the missing argument here as well. and we'll be using the selected landmark later to drive the contents of a detail view, which we will create. So we'll just add a constant landmark data value here. Now here we can limit the row and only show the ones which have been marked as favorite by the user. So let's just add an if condition here for that. Now, because the users can flag a landmark as a favorite, you'll need to provide a way that lets them view just the favorites. So we'll create a filter view that uses a toggle to provide the users with a checkbox that they can click to turn on filtering on or off. To let people quickly narrow down the list of their favorite landmarks, we'll add a picker to create a pop-up button that lets users filter their favorites based on any category that we have set. So that's it for this video. Make sure you subscribe so that you can follow the series throughout and create your own macOS application. And I'll be dropping the part 2 of this tutorial very soon. So stay tuned for that. Thank you.